So, in March of this year, Common Stack had a Commons Prize, and the winner would be the next community after the Token Engineering Commons to implement our Commons deployment protocol. So 95 unique voters from the Trusted Seed participated, and the winner was Grassroots Economics, a project we all felt, very honored to work with. So I went to Kenya last month to understand how our design process, our design pattern could work with them since everything is happening mostly in the ground. In short, grassroots economics creates vouchers or currencies for local communities to become commons economies. The vouchers are a way for the value flow for the value flow to be restored where the national currency is scarce. So goods and services are the real values backing any economy. What's missing in a lot of them is a means of exchange. What's missing a lot of the times is just a means of exchange. If we have a means of exchange that it's backed by the value existing in a community, abundance can start flourishing. So this picture is from a group of elders called Mungano, and they have their own currency, their own voucher that's called Mu, and they have these marketplaces that happen every Friday where people bring their goods and services to sell to each other using Mu, that is this currency that they implemented. So I bought a coconut using Mu, and I'm clearly the most excited there because it's so good to see the grounded potential of so many of these things we've been working on happening and how people are benefiting from it. So we're still understanding how our collaboration and the Common Stack is going to happen with grassroots economics, especially because there are technical limitations. So I won't get into much of that today, but I want to share some of the reflections I had from observing these communities on the ground and also the work grassroots economics has been doing and how they relate with the challenges we have in the cyber commons space. So the first point I want to bring is demurrage. Grassroots economics uses demurrage, which is a tax on holding. So for example, holding 10 vouchers with a 2% decay in the end of the month would give you 9.8 vouchers. And the credit that is deducted with time goes to a common pool that is governed by the community. So they can decide what to do with the demurrage funds. And based on the Natural Economic Order, that's this book. It's a pretty old school book from the 30s that talks about how Thank you. That talks about how if everything decay in nature, if an apple rottens, why wouldn't money also rotten? So, hodling. A tax on holding and the incentive of flow made me question the narrative of hodling we have in the space. Why hodling is caring. When we see money as a store of value, we are incentivizing power dynamics to emerge. Only the most privileged ones can hold. The circulating supply becomes smaller and scarcity dynamics arise. So holding makes sense in the case of an investment, maybe, where there's no purpose on spending. But if the token had a purpose, if utility was there, value would simply flow. So this brings to the next point, that is token utility. Are we really working with securities and using governance as an excuse of token utility? What if the value of our token, what are the values of our tokens giving access to? How to make them tangible? What are the values of the ecosystems we're working with? I assume, and I would love to hear more in the breakout session, but I assume the the answer I would hear the most to that question, what is the value we are creating, would be public goods. So the value we create is a public good, therefore it shouldn't be monetized. In Think Like a Commoner, David Boiler talks about how hackers in the 90s deferred from the term free software to open source because the word free would mislead to thinking that it has no cost. But everything has cost, and if it's not externalized, most of the time this cost falls on builders and on the people who are working on it, and then it becomes this weird structures where a lot of work happening and not enough funding is coming into the value that is being created. So how can we be inventive with commons licenses and token utility in a way that we can create abundance economics tied to real token value? And this is what I want to discuss more in the breakout session. Thank you.